Constitution review from another perspective is Chijioke Okoli. He's the former NBA chairman in Lagos. Good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we won't bother ourselves with all the semantics we had with Oyetibo about alterations or amendment or even review. For you, what do you think about the present constitution?
I think it's stating the obvious. If we acknowledge that it's flawed in significant respects. I think it was Wole Soyinka who, put it so well that it's a document that tells a lie against itself by it starts by saying, grandiloquently, more like the way of the American Constitution, with the people. I mean, we're not talking history. We're talking about current affairs. I can't remember when we, the people as Nigerians, came together. It was Abdul Salam Abubakar and those that made up his Armed Forces Ruling Council that sat down and put the thing out there and said, we, the people. So it wasn't subjected to any, to my knowledge, thorough, juridical scrutiny, so to speak. So for me, the sooner of course there are certain things there, a number of things there that even if you had asked the people, they will say come up with it. But the point is that it didn't come from the people.
Well, some people say that, we're speaking with our first guest, he said that most of what we have in the 1999 Constitution is an adoption of what we had in 1979 Constitution, but that there were just a couple of additions, and that, as you rightly pointed out, if you ask most people, maybe nothing would really change. But you see, it's still important. I can't come here and say, oh, Malkwe, I know what's good for you. It may be good for me, but let it be my own work. There's this emotional investment that it is my work. Maybe perhaps you bought in there. It's more it's easier for you to really walk through it. If you contract a marriage, it's easier for you when you start having problems. You say, maybe at the back of your mind, I'm not sure, maybe I will have married that young lady if not that mommy or daddy was saying that. If it is your own choice, you probably would dig deeper to surmount the difficulties. I mean, that's
the problem we're trying to avoid in future. How can we make this our own choice? Because we asked the question, who should represent the people to draft this constitution, even though there will be call for memorandum from the public, but the input for some, they're already divided, saying that the National Assembly shouldn't be the ones to be the representatives of the people. Some would want to convoke a conference whereby they'll also nominate people, and some other lawyers like yourself will argue that that will be in contravention of the laws, having almost like two assemblies for the people.
No, I think that's just being academic. We can have a conference. Well, I see some people's problem is with the word sovereign, but either way, but let the people come down, because let's face it, if we want to rework the constitution, fundamentally, some of the people, I may not bother, I may be indifferent that they are representing me. But if we're saying that we have to work the fundamental framework upon which Nigeria exists, I could say, no. I don't think you have that capacity. You come. You see, if you're going there to make laws, the laws you're making are subject or against the backdrop of the ground norm, which is the Constitution. Now, when you're going to fashion out that ground norm, I may say, no, that's beyond your ken. The particular person I may have now to go there to go and represent me. I mean, I will give you an analogy. You can have just about anybody to run a state like US within, and I use that word advisedly, because these institutions are strong. You need perhaps a stronger person in Nigeria. I mean, with all due respect to George Bush and a whole lot of things. I mean, we saw the big calamity, the Holocaust in Afghanistan and not Afghanistan, Iraq. I mean, I remember he was being asked one question about who was the Iranian Pakistani president. He said, "Oh, one general," and I was shocked. I said, the biggest thing for U.S. was the disaster of two hostile nuclear neighbors, Pakistan and India, existing. You would think that an American president, who, whether we like it or not, is the most powerful man in the world, is coming to that office, doesn't even know all these things. But you see, because you have policy wonks and everything working almost seamlessly, you could have a George Bush there, he could waffle along. But in Nigeria, you must come very well prepared.
Okay, now taking a cue from the security crisis Nigeria is facing right now, how can we fashion out a draft constitution that reflects a collective destiny?
That is for the people. We have to come back and talk. You see, because we have to come back and talk. You see, because and we now go back also to the Constitution, fiscal federalism. You see, if I call it group bad behavior that you do have in some parts of the country, where even people with influence to bear are not.
You are saying going back to talk because we need to avoid a talking shop now in this kind of serious agenda like the constitutional review. Does this suggest the total estimated population of 160 million population would be coming together? Because we still need a basis of representation, don't we?
Yes. We are not idiots. If we go, I can tell you, for example, if we go down to, let's say, Anambra State or in the East, if you're bringing people to say, okay, let's go and discuss the base of Nigeria, if you have a man like Ekweme, I can tell you across board, regardless of his PDP, you have a man like Onyabobi, he's equally PDP. I mean, these are people who enjoy, people know who their true leaders are. And if we're going to do that, those people who are coming there, some people will go and warn you and say, my friend, go and sit down. What I'm going to do there is beyond your going to share money.
So what should be the criteria of the people representing us at this stage?
No, it would be for the different groups. It's not for me to say why the person representing the Ogun State, why they want him. But the most important thing is that it must be somebody that the people who he is purporting to represent repose sufficient trust. It's like when you go to hire a lawyer.
Doesn't that duplicate the role of our honorables at the House of Representatives?
We go back to that thing that I said. What the National Assembly is doing is to make laws against the backdrop of the ground norm. When I go to fashion out that ground norm, I'll probably say no, because every law you make must be tested for its validity against the Constitution. So I can allow you to go there and then you do something, and then I can go to court and say it doesn't pass a constitutional master. But that very Constitution upon which we test everything you do, when we decide to fashion it, I may say, no. I must make sure. Because if I don't get it right, my children and children are going to be in bondage.
Some people have said that, this approach, what a host of people are seeking is a radical approach. They're hoping to see something radically. That's for those who support an amendment of the Constitution. You don't seem to support the amendment. You want a totally new Constitution. Am I getting it right?
Yes. You see, that's ideal. But you see, but I don't want to say, for the simple reason that I can't get a total whatever that, we should abandon whatever they're doing. We can use, it's an incremental process.
So you would also advocate an incremental approach to changing the Constitution that we have currently?
No. I'm saying that the fact that I want 100%, but what is on ground, I force me only maybe 40% or 50%, I'll say no. I won't participate in that. But I'm saying that for me, the best approach would be, let us sit down, because let's face it,
a number of the people in the National Assembly have interest. And if you're sitting on that chair, some people maybe want some states to do that and in a whole lot of things, and then when that will tell the way they will conduct this thing.